In commercial MEP contracting, projects are often won on the back of an aggressive bid that projects a 15% profit margin. This chart shows the trend of that margin during execution. We see a projected 15% rate steadily decaying over the project timeline, ultimately hitting a 6% close rate at the end of the job. This 9% gap is known as systemic margin fade. While this loss is often attributed to field crews or installation errors, it typically stems from a systemic blind spot in executive visibility. Managing a multi-million-dollar portfolio using post-mortem financial data is like trying to drive by looking only in the rearview mirror. By the time the data reaches the office, the window for correction has already closed. You cannot address a mid-week field hemorrhage using a lag metric that only populates at the end of the month. Stopping this bleed requires moving away from lag measures, like monthly reports, and focusing on predictive indicators. This approach is governed by the 117 rule. For every 1 hour of proactive planning conducted in the office, 17 hours of labor are saved during field execution. This contrasts with standard industry habits of rushing boots to the ground before an execution plan is finalized. Maximizing this planning to execution ratio is the best way to protect bid margins from volatile site conditions. Protecting these margins requires a predictive early warning system integrated directly into the daily workflow. Many MEP contractors have attempted to solve these inefficiencies by investing heavily in generalist construction management platforms. However, incumbents like Procore and Autodesk Construction Cloud use architectures engineered for general contractors rather than specialty trades. These tools function as expensive document repositories. They are efficient at routing RFIs, submittals, and site photos. While this handles legal risk for the general contractor, it does nothing to measure the micro inefficiencies in field labor productivity, which is the primary driver of MEP profitability. When the enterprise tool fails to provide this data, professionals often resort to Excel evacuation. This forces project managers and estimators back into sprawling, manual spreadsheets to track actual labor pacing. Relying on generalist software to manage specialized labor ensures that margin fade remains invisible until the project is mathematically unrecoverable. This lack of visibility begins in pre-construction, where chief estimators are often forced to bid large contracts in a data vacuum. Bidding based on outdated historical averages and error-prone spreadsheets makes it impossible to account for modern disruptions on the site. These inaccurate bids frequently lead to late MEP coordination. Reactive pre-construction triggers architectural design conflicts that physically block prefabrication opportunities. These conflicts generate avoidable change orders that erode the project's financial health before construction even starts. When teams mobilize with inaccurate bids and poor coordination, they are inheriting a schedule that is already failing. On the job site, the general superintendent must manage the physical fallout of these planning failures. This results in trade stacking, where compressed and delayed schedules force multiple crews into the same confined workspace. This creates large blocks of non-productive waiting time that consume the labor budget hour by hour. Field workers quickly become frustrated by the lack of clear scheduling and the clunky mobile apps they are expected to use. This frustration often leads to pencil whipping, the practice of submitting inaccurate daily logs just to satisfy corporate compliance. When this corrupted data is sent back to the office, it creates a loop that ensures the same bidding mistakes are repeated on the next job. Agile construction provides a standardized operating system to address this loop of bad data and reactive management. This framework relies on the ASTM E2691 standard. ASTM E2691 is a rigorous technical specification for measuring and analyzing construction labor productivity using a standardized stab metrics. ASTM E2691 replaces guesswork. A smooth trend line shows expected labor burn rate, deviating from actual output. This jagged line is construction put in place, or CPIP, measuring physical materials installed on site. Comparing CPIP to actual labor hours generates an instantaneous productivity metric. This allows executives to use historical reporting as an early warning system, identifying profit leaks by Wednesday so they can course correct by Thursday. Short interval scheduling, or SIS, is the tactical tool used in the field to feed this data back to the office. The SIS application allows superintendents to flag labor bottlenecks in real time, eliminating pencil whipping. This verified data flows into JPAC, giving the VP of Operations full portfolio visibility. The data finally flows back to the chief estimator. This creates a closed-loop ecosystem where field performance is used to continuously refine future office planning. This process ensures that future bids are based on surgical, site-specific precision, rather than hopeful guesses. Stop accepting margin bleed as a necessary cost of doing business. With the current severe shortage of skilled labor, optimizing your field productivity is your primary competitive advantage. You can quantify your specific financial exposure right now. Use the interactive ROI calculator linked in the description to see exactly how much your current software stack is costing you in lost margin. Secure a competitive advantage by adopting a system built for the specific needs of specialty trades. Click the link below to book a live product teardown with an agile construction engineer and stop the bleed today.